Hey guys, it's Mina. Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. Hit that like and subscribe button down below and let's get started with the video. So today I thought I'd do a little life update and let you guys in about my prep for summer 2021. So excuse me. I'm super excited for 2021 summer just because I think I'll go kayaking and then lay out in the sun outside on the deck. So it's going to be a really nice time for summer 2021. And I just thought I'd let you guys in on a few tips to prep for the summer. So you want to make sure you have your Hydroflask that's reusable and BPA free. Number two, you want to make sure you have a good pair of sunglasses so that when you're driving or at the beach, the sun isn't glaring into your eyes, causing headaches and stuff like that. Number three, you want to make sure you hydrate with that hydro flask. So not only have a hydro flask, but make sure you're refilling it with water. 64 fluid ounces throughout the day is what our body requires every single day, 64 fluid ounces. So I have one on my Amazon account. If you do amazon.com/shop/ROCKCLINBINGPROBS, you will find it. I'll try to link it down below in this description. It's amazon.com/shop/rockclimbingprobs, and you'll find the Hydro Flask that has motivational quotes throughout the day to get you through the day. So it goes from either the morning till the night, and it has timestamps, or you can just do, it has 32 fluid ounces in the day, and then you just do 2 of those, so it equals 64 fluid ounces throughout. And then another nice thing is to wear light colored tops because black attracts the heat, so you want to make, and the sunlight, so you want to make sure that you wear light colored clothes like white or light blue or light gray, which is going to help you stay cooler than if you were to wear black clothing. So this is the same is true for cars and things like that, but unfortunately can't really change the color of your car once you have it. So that is the scoop on summer preparation. Also make sure you change out your winter clothes for summer clothes if you haven't already, or you're still wearing hoodies because it's cold where you are. Just make sure you're getting prepped for summer, taking out your flip-flops and summer sandals so that you have those prepared and ready. And then any lightweight dusters or windbreakers, because it can still be breezy by the beach. I just went to the beach today and it was really breezy down there, but you can still feel the summer heat. So again, with the hydration is key. Just water, drinking, hydrating. I have some coffee here that's gone it's just watered down now because the ice melted and I had finished it. But just making sure you're drinking fluids throughout the day. And if it's not caffeinated coffee, coffee doesn't really dehydrate you. It just is kind of a myth that it does that, because I've been drinking it for so long and I feel more hydrated when I drink iced coffee because majority of it is water, but majority of what goes into coffee is water. That's why it has so few calories. And another thing for summer prep is to, when you're doing yoga and things like that, to just kind of be very mindful of the types of yoga that you're doing, because I'm a CYT, a certified yoga teacher, registered through National Yoga Alliance. So when I teach, I'm trying to make sure that all my classes are geared towards cooling down and not vinyasa based, because I don't want anyone to get overheated in the summer. And also with running, it's very easy to get overheated because the sun is just blaring. So make sure you have those light colored clothes on, those sunglasses, maybe a hat on your head. And then the next thing is sunscreen. Right now I'm wearing toner on my face, which has SPF 30 on it.
It's 4:00.
So it is giving my face more of an olivey texture right now. That is the sunscreen on my face right now. But you can get it in all sorts of colors. I don't have any other makeup on besides my lipstick. But that is some summer prep. And you can also buy lipstick that has SPF in it or lip balm. I forgot to do that because I bought the facial toner after I bought the lipstick. So that was kind of a thing for me. And I also, just for summer blogs and things like that, I got these blue light resistance glasses so that when I'm typing on the computer, I can have these and they block the blue light from coming in. So it's really helpful, even when doing live streams like this, to wear these glasses. And my mom used to have glasses like these growing up, and she said kids would make fun of her. So now I wear this so I can look bomb as heck, and just keep going with everything. So, um, yeah, I'm just gonna wear these, and I think I look fine in them. So those are UV blocking light glasses. I have some links on my rock climbing props page, like Van Life Tech and Van Life Essentials, and it's under rock climbing recovery and rock climbing training that you can find those tabs, that you can find the Hydroflasks that you need. They also have, I have PPE there, personal protective equipment, which includes like helmets for rock climbing, but it also includes masks and facial masks that won't fall down when you're like climbing because it has a little thing in the back. So that's really cool. And then I'm just wearing this really cute crop top today that is a crop top, and then I'm wearing like, it's also a workout set. So I like to wear these when I'm taking walks and things like that because it just keeps me a lot cooler and it's moisture wicking. And that way I don't have to worry about what I'm going to feel like if I'm doing like yoga poses, teaching yoga and something that's not as stretchy and flexible. So I always need to be like stretching, doing movements like that and free to move around. So that's really important to me. So that's a little bit about summer prep for 2021. I hope you enjoyed. Also, make sure you always have a beach towel that you're not, and then also that you're not like over exercising outside, just because it can get really hot if you're not in like AC. Make sure you grab a little fan or something, electric fan to put in your room, and you'll be all set. You also might want to think about taking the blankets, extra blankets off your bed and putting those to the sides just for like those chilly nights you might need to grab one. And that is pretty much what I have to tell you about summer prep for 2021. I hope you enjoyed. Click that like and subscribe button down below, comment anything you want. And now I'm going to do a little life update. So for a life update for me, my car is currently in the shop getting worked on because something happened with the tire that it was like deflated a little bit. So we got to get that, and we got to get the oil changed. So right now my car is in the shop. So we're waiting for it's going to be another 2 weeks until it's home now. So right now I'm waiting for my car to get back home. So it's going to be 2 weeks before I have it to drive it. So I'm just waiting on that. And then I am waiting on like an email as well. So that's a little bit of a life update for me. And I just got to check emails because throughout my day, like a lot of emails will pile up. And if I'm not checking my emails throughout the day, they're just going to keep piling up. So, and a lot of it is spam, but it doesn't automatically go to the junk folder. And it's just so much spam that it's not like, even though I check up on my emails frequently, it still piles up. So I do have a designated like business account that only like important emails go to, but I do have this account that like I see every day. So I still like check it because I still send some messages to that account because sometimes links will get affiliated with, like when you send in an application for something, sometimes the links will get affiliated with your email address anyway, and you still end up getting spam. So that's really peculiar, but it is a fact of life. So I don't know, I always see people like a day in my life being like very productive and things like that. And my day was productive today, but I did a little flip-flop because normally I do my day the opposite, where I'll start with rock climbing training and then end with like a walk. But I did a walk this morning instead and then climbing after because I got my second dose of the Pfizer vaccine 2 days ago. And yesterday I felt so nauseous. I had shivers the whole night. Like, you call those chills? Chills is the word. That's not really in my vocabulary, but chills. I had chills and I was like throwing up because my system was just trying to react and prepare for this vaccine. So that's what my body was supposed to do. Some people didn't even throw up. And my body was showing me that, like, yes, I can get rid of something if you need to get rid of it. But it made me feel so sick. And then on top of that, today, when we were driving home, of course, in a different car because my car is currently in the shop, but we were still driving home from the walk that I took. And there was a huge tree, literally 5 seconds before I pulled into my street. This huge tree that was like, if we had a gone 10 more feet to like turn around, this tree would have smashed into our car. It was this huge tree that just fell across the road and we saw it fall. If we had been like trying to turn around because we went too far, we would have been hit by the tree. And we saw this man walking, and the man was literally 10 feet behind where the tree fell, like maybe closer than that. And like, oh my gosh, he's so lucky. And like, we called like 911. We're like, what's your emergency? And we're like, this huge tree just fell across the street. Luckily, it didn't take off any power lines because that can happen, and then your whole power would go out. So luckily that didn't happen because I might not be having this conversation with you right now if that didn't happen. And it just traumatized me because I've already had a friend go through that experience, but it actually landed on her car. Luckily, she's all right. Like, it landed through the middle of the car, but it was an even bigger tree when that happened to her. So I'm just so like thankful, like saying Hail Mary right now because like I'm glad to be alive. And especially yesterday, like I felt like death because of everything that was happening since the vaccine. And also my arm was just so sore. Like, I don't know if that happened to you after getting that vaccine, but my arm felt so sore. And like, I'm a rock climber, so normally I have a high pain tolerance, but this just like was too much. It was just too much for me to handle. So yesterday I was just taking deep breaths and my head was pounding with a headache. And I was hydrating, but I couldn't hydrate too much because I didn't want to throw up the water. And like I was dry heaving. It was just a mess yesterday. But I'm a very sanitary person, so like kept everything clean and everything. But like, oh my gosh, it was just the worst mess yesterday. Yesterday I didn't eat anything the whole entire day because I was just throwing up. And normally, like, I'll eat that throughout the day. So this morning I woke up, I had a headache, and my tongue was white from like being starving the whole day yesterday. And that's an indication, like, if your tongue is white, it means you haven't eaten. And also, if you can't feel any like plaque on your teeth, if they feel very clean, that means you haven't eaten. So I ate today, which is good. I'm grateful for because yesterday I just didn't eat anything the whole day. I just wasn't feeling good. And you can kind of tell that I've eaten now because I have some like redness back of my face, which is good. But literally, I had like just from one day of not eating, I woke up this morning and my pants were loose. I was like, oh my gosh, because I was just everything in my stomach was gone. And like that has not happened to me in years and years that I've thrown up. So I'm happy to have like eaten today. Um, yeah, because I just didn't want to continue on like that. So now today I feel much better. My headache's gone. I'm not throwing up. I was able to eat and like my shivers went away, or sorry, my chills. Again, I said that wasn't in my vocabulary. So my chills went away, which is awesome because I don't want to be stuck in bed with chills. That is the worst feeling. Then I was sweating all the time too. That was another thing. Like on and off, sweat, chills, sweat, chills. And I was like, I never sweat even doing exercise. So I was like, what is this weird sweat happening right now? So that was definitely related to the vaccine. Some of my friends said that they had like after getting the vaccine, like I'm pro-vaccine, I got two myself, but I had friends that were telling me that they had like nightmares after getting the vaccine and that they had like really bad nightmares throughout the whole like night terrors. And I'm a lucid dreamer, which means that I dream. When I dream, I can tell what's happening in the dream. And like, it's a whole story for me. It's like very intense. So I was really worried about that. But luckily, I didn't have night terrors. It was just like a normal kind of dream for me. A little bit not as pleasant of a dream as normal, but it was not definitely not a night terror. So, yeah, I'm pro vaccine just because I think the pros outweigh the cons. And now that I'm feeling better today, I would say that if I continue to feel better, that it will definitely outweigh the cons. So, that's a thumbs up from me. And the first vaccine went fine, like completely fine. I did have like night terrors, but other than that, I was completely fine. I didn't get any chills the first vaccine. So I think the second dose just kind of like put me out of it. But no, like as I said, I felt like death yesterday. Like when I was throwing up, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to die. Like literally because I was like choking. But luckily, I'm okay right now. And I know this is not like a pleasant topic, but these past two scenarios, today and yesterday, were like pretty traumatic for me. So, especially with the tree falling, like, oh my gosh, we were just seconds away from disaster. And some things just happen in life, and you're like, wow, if I had been like 5 seconds faster with my pace, and I was going to take a walk around that area. So I would have been coming back around that time. And like the tree just fell, like it's almost like it popped off the trunk and just fell. So I would have been like coming around the bend at that time. And I don't even want to think of that because I'm a tiny person. I'm 5'2", not even. So it would not be pleasant. So I'm just glad to be talking with you guys today and talking about prep for summer 2021. And I'm super stoked. Also, really excited to be going to the beach, kayaking. I don't know if you live by the beach, but I live kind of far from the beach, but we can still get there. So it's not like we're landlocked, like some people have to rely on lakes or not even. So I'm definitely lucky in that regard, but my house did flood when I was up to the second floor before we moved because of the flood, when I was like in 5th grade or 6th grade, something around the lines of that. Like I think it was 7th grade it flooded, or it was 2013 and Hurricane Sandy. And when that hit, my house flooded up to the second floor, so we had to leave, evacuate. Like I would have been screwed. Like we basically weren't in a home for like months, like 8 months I think it was, and then we bought a home that was much further away from the beach. So now I'm scared of like tsunamis and things like that, because of what happened. Like you can imagine, like it flooded up to the second floor, and we only had 2 floors in that house because it was a beach home. And like homes by the beach are just very like easy breezy, like go with the flow, like no nonsense, like you just pick up and go. But our like furniture got destroyed. We had to like start new, everything. Pictures, family photos got destroyed. Like it was awful. So my family escaped that because we were really good with tides and like knowing about tides, and we always check the weather forecasts and think that that's really important to do, whether you're going out climbing, whether you're going to sail. Like you always got to be checking the tides coming in and out. And this is real things that have happened to me. Like my life hasn't been easy. Like you'd think, like people are always talking about like privilege, but my life hasn't been like as lucky as some other people, because all the wealthy people around me had homes that were higher up, and so they didn't get flooded. But of course my family wasn't that wealthy, so we couldn't afford to build it, and it's not our fault. Like we tried to get higher paying jobs and things like that, and it's not always about how hard you work because we're such hard workers. It's sometimes just about some people know the right people and get paid more because they know the right people, and we are just not in that bubble of entitlement. So we don't have that. But we're getting by, so that's a good thing. And I've always like slaved at like 9 to 5 jobs or even longer hours, like 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. at night, and still not enough to like continually pay my rent. Like I ended up having to move back home after moving out for a while because my rent was so high and I wasn't willing to give up living in a safe area to pay in order to pay less rent. So I just continually paid like whatever it was, like $1,000 per month to be living there. And then eventually I moved back home because I was like, this is way too expensive. So this goes to show like what a traumatic experience like being flooded can do and like what position it can put you in life. And yeah, it just was not a good scenario for me. Especially like if we didn't have any place to go for those 8 months, like that would have been even harder because we knew a lot of people whose homes also flooded because, not everybody had their home built up so fancy. Um, and that just goes to show you, like in America, how the poverty line is just so bad. Like, no matter what, people will say, like, oh, they just worked hard for their money, but not really. I'm working, like, I did rigging and things like that, where I was up like 80 feet doing jobs other people wouldn't do. Like, they spit at me, like, kind of thing, because they were so snobby, like, so snobby. They'd come in and, like, yell at me and, like, be like, "Oh, you take my kid here now," and they'd be, like, on their phone while I'm belaying their kid or whatever, and, like, not even care about the kid, and, like, I would be taking care of the kid the whole day, and, like, just things rude remarks that they make when you're in the service industry, and, like, I also work sales behind a desk and, like, all this stuff, and so when I got my, like, 5th job, I think, working up in somewhere else, I like love that job so much better because the people were more educated and they weren't, I don't know if they were more educated, but they were just more civilized and they didn't like order me around. It was just awful, the comments people would say. And they do it not just to me, like the whole staff. And the staff were just trying to get by and like make ends meet, paying for an apartment every month. And like and paying for gas just to get to the job is just ridiculous because it's almost like it takes your money away. So the system that we live in just doesn't work for anybody because there needs to be money, like enough money coming in for everyone to like have enough to get by. And like people should all have like a roof over their heads and people should all have each one of us should have enough money coming in. Like, I don't think anyone should have more money over the other unless it's like the government, but because they need to protect everybody and themselves. Um, so I believe that like it should be more equal and fair in America. Like I think it should be more equal and fair where everyone has the same amount of money so that everyone can buy the same kind of car, so that everyone can have an equal opportunity. Because if you don't have a nice car, what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to get to work. And what happens if you've been slaving away from the car, all money's going to your bills, to your kids that you have, everything because you've been in this not as entitled position. And therefore, people look down on you. They're like, you don't have a nice car, blah, 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 blah. Like, so what if I don't have a nice car? I worked my butt off for this other car. Like, I learned so much about myself and how I've been treated like poorly as a service worker and like how people will just look down on you and like it's just so unfair, like, the things that I've seen and, like yeah, the things that I've seen have been awful, like, I've seen people legit starving to death and, like, end up in a hospital because of it, like, because they've been on, like, down like, they haven't been able to get food and things like that, like, it's just not a good scenario to be stuck in, like, people should all have access to food and, like, the basic necessities, like, and shelter, and I think we should all have, like, equal opportunities, like, no one should have a mansion while another person's on the street, like, that shouldn't be the case, like, just settle for maybe use your money you were gonna buy your 3rd Lamborghini with and use it to help, like, the homeless or to help people that are trying to get jobs. Like maybe just give them money and to do a job for you, or like a task, because like I don't know, I just it's it's hard because people don't want to just give their money out, but it's how I view it is that like all the people I've ever known that have been generous with like willing to pay for your meal and things like that have been the type of people that don't necessarily have a lot to give. Like I've been one of those people that will like pay for someone's meal and like do good deeds for other people, but it's not like I have like millions and billions of dollars to be giving out to people. So it's like that. Like I feel like the wealthy, like I haven't seen that turnaround because we'd all be feeling the benefits if they were to just give a little. Like they have enough to, like the richest people in the world have enough to like make a difference and make us all feel like safe, because a home at the end of the day, to make like a little home that is livable costs like $4,000. So if you think of that and you think of people who have like trillions of dollars, they could potentially pay for a large city to have like homes and things like that. So, and people could share homes, like it wouldn't be a problem. And I just think the government can do a lot more to help support individuals, because like the ratio, like how unfair it is that some people can have a fancy car while you're sitting next to them like riding a bicycle, is just ridiculous. Like the fact that they can like literally, like they just have so much power over us, like it's just awful. Like to have the fu kind of money that they have, and just like it's horrible because I grew up watching all these people. Like I was in living in a wealthy neighborhood, but my family them ourselves weren't as wealthy. So we would see these people with all these extravagant things, and yet it was like we couldn't access them, like we couldn't access them. So it was like we were living under par with how like everyone else was living. So people like the rich people like look down on us, and that's why I don't have respect for rich people now, because they were snobby, they were snooty, they were like, you can't, like my parents, they wouldn't, are the nicest people, and we got along with like other people that were kind of in our more financial situation, and we went to school and like got educated, but sometimes I have slang that comes out because I wasn't able to get like a tutor and all this extra stuff like that the richer people have access to. And so therefore I grew up looking like I don't know what I'm talking about, whereas other people like get by with so much more. And like I've worked jobs like cleaning wealthy people's houses and stuff like that just to try to get by. And like the way that they talked to me and talked down to me, it was like they thought I was a slave. Like, and it almost feels that way because you're living such different lives. Like it's a classist system, and I think that something needs to give, and like not enough people know about it, that this is happening, because some people just live their lives and don't even care about others. Like they just care about themselves and they just want safety for themselves, but they don't care about the fact that we're all like a family. We're all meant to be equal. So why aren't we treated equally? And these are just some of my thoughts going into 2021. And I think that it's just really important to mention those topics, because we should all be living fair and equal lives. Like it's 2021, by now we should have had this happen. And how are we supposed to make the world like more fair and more equal? I think it starts with like having equal access to amenities like housing, equal access to housing, like free housing and stuff like that. I feel like could be a thing, because builders could build the houses and like get the experience from building houses to like build nicer things, and like they'd have experience from that, and experience will get you very far. Like the thing is, people get greedy and want more and more and more, and can't just settle for the fact that sometimes if you have more, someone else is going to have less. So it's really not a fair way to go. And like some people are more simple than others, but I think everyone should just be simple because like I'm a very simple, streamlined person and like I don't need a lot of things to be happy. And people should know that you don't need a lot of things to be happy because if you're better living a simple life, like you can do so much more once you have those things, those basic necessities you need, like a roof over your head. And yeah, I just think rent is way too high. Like, I was basically paying all my full paycheck to go into rent just so I could be living with a roof over my head. It wasn't even like the nicest place. Like, oh my gosh, just terrible. And then my car was breaking down all the time, had to get that fixed. That was like another $800. And it's just ridiculous the cost of living. And like, we shouldn't have a cost to being alive. Like, we didn't ask to be here. Like, we shouldn't be having a cost to live. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, the cost of things, like, you go to the store and you buy like bread, and somehow you go to the counter, it's like, and you buy a bottle of milk, it's like $12.95. Just for that, there goes like work for 1 hour. Like, for what? Like a piece of bread I could have made out of the wheat fields that I see all around me. Like, it's just ridiculous. But then they'll like get mad if you chop it down. It's just ridiculous. So I think that something's got to give. And like, it's hard to say that because even in Europe, like things are much more expensive. Like, you have to pay for water and they don't have regular water there and stuff like that. So it's just like, be grateful for where you live because where I'm from, Yemen, they're doing, they're in, they're not as fortunate as us. Like, that's kind of where my heritage is. It's near Saudi Arabia, if you're wondering, in West Asia. And yeah, so I just think of that and like think of how far my family has come and like that we even like have like a roof over our heads. But even to say that, like, I just don't get why some people are just born into wealth and other people not. Like, I don't think it's a very funny game to like put people through. Like, it's not like I can change anything about myself to like being a good person. I've always been a good person and I feel like I've been a better person than some other people that I know. So it's just like I try to be the best person I can possibly be and be grateful and gracious to everybody. But sometimes you don't learn etiquette if you're not as well educated. So like it all comes down to opportunities and like being in a classist society. Like, I didn't really see any West Asians around me when I was going to school, so I felt like not a part of everything. Like, I wasn't wealthy enough to afford the preppy clothes everybody wore, and so like I didn't fit in like everybody did. I didn't wear like the white Vans and like black leggings that everybody wore, and like I was just very eccentric and different. And I had friends. It was just like we weren't the popular ones. Like, I was popular in my own regard. Like, I have lots of followers, but I on Instagram, it's just like in society, all like the popular people would be driving around like Mercedes that their parents got for them. Meanwhile, I have a Subaru that like I spent years saving up for, like years. And it already had like 100,000 miles on it when I bought it, but that's all I could like really afford at the time. So I was like gonna save some money and spend most of it towards a car. And so I did that so that I could get to work and like just barely scrape by. And like they're out there balling, living their best life, like not even it's 4:30 right now. And this has gone on for a lot longer than I thought it would, but I thought I'd continue talking because I have a lot on my mind and I love talking to like YouTube and the camera. And like this is just a little bit of a life update for me because all these memories are coming up because my car is in the shop right now, so I just wanted to mention, like, you have to be patient. I think I'm not trying to tell you to be patient, but I feel as though it's a good idea to be patient in, like, the trajectory of your life because things happen slowly and it takes a lot of time to build up to something. And sometimes, like, even though I've been applying to all these jobs, I only heard back from, like, 1 or 2. So it's just takes time, and it's a really rough system to be living in because the life that we live right now, it's not like we can go and live in teepees in the middle of the forest. Like, there's it's not free anymore. Like, where did land of the free go? Like, we should all be living free at this point, and like just all the for-profit systems need to be taken down because one person's profiting and profiting and profiting and profiting. Meanwhile, other people are suffering and suffering and suffering. So they need to we need to like demonetize them because like they're just making it hell for everybody else. Like there needs to be, I don't know, like a good leader that like distributes the wealth. Like there needs to be distribution of the wealth. Like when you play Monopoly in the game of life, like there's distribution of wealth that goes on. Like how simple would that be? Like pretty simple. When everybody gets their paycheck, everybody works because everybody has like a government job or something, and then everybody's paycheck is equally delivered to everybody. And like if you have kids, you can apply to get more, right? But if you don't have kids, like you're just set with your basic thing. Like I think it would be a great system if we just had like distribution of wealth and everyone would have the same hours of work. So you don't say like, oh, I worked more hours, I should get this. Well, not necessarily, because even though you're working and on the clock, work can't be measured. Like, because I've seen people at work like not doing their job and just sitting there on their phones, and they got in trouble for it too, but like we're still getting paid on the hour. So the amount of work you do, meanwhile, I was busy doing something and like needed help with it because I was responsible for rigging and stuff. So you got to make sure everything's like locked and secure. Meanwhile, they're looking at their phones. I didn't know, but because I was busy, but my boss came around and like yelled at the person. And like on our job, you can't look away because if a person falls, like rock climbing, like I got to be there to catch them. So, and I had put the helmet on the kids and whatever, and minding my own business. I always like kept my phone off and like not even near me when I go to work. Like it's usually kept in my car or in a locker, um, and off because I don't need any distractions and I don't want any distractions because when I'm on the clock, I'm on the clock working. And that's why I think like people should be paid equally because you never know if there's going to be that one person that's takes your shift just and isn't even as good of a worker. Like that stuff happens and that's just really gets me going because like then your shift is taken by someone and maybe something happened to your phone and you weren't able to take the shift right when it popped up because your phone was dead, because your charger's dead, because you don't have enough money to pay for the charger, because another bill came up and you couldn't pay for it on time because you were paying for rent and all these different things like that. So like, and the wealthier people automatically like just have everything at their fingertips. So they should have no excuses when it comes to like making the world go round. Like they should be better leaders and like because they have access to technology that we don't have. So you can only imagine how much they control and like it's just crazy. Like if you have enough money to like be buying streets and things like that, like in teams like the Lakers or something like that, like that's almost like they bought you as a person and that is not cool. Like there should be restrictions on that. And yeah, I've only passed legislator before to like protect our public lands. So I only know a little bit about legislator, but it was basically so that legislature. It was basically so that people can't build on our public lands, but this was over in Red Rocks. so far from me, but I felt I need to protect it anyways because it's um, should be protected. So I helped with that, and we passed legislator in like 2018 or 2017, I think, and then it finally got passed like in 2019. So I'm really happy about that. I had to get like 20,000 signatures, so that's where I really helped with because I had a lot of followers, have a lot of followers. Um, so I could help with that, and I used like my followership for good instead of like bad. Um, like I just think about like all these things a lot and really gets me going. But I'm glad you were listening into this conversation today, and I hope it helps you prep for summer 2021 with remembering everything from hydration to wearing sunscreen. And I'll see you next time. Please hit that like and subscribe button down below. It'll really help me out. And I'll see you next time. See ya.